how someone moves from being unbranded to becoming a brand in demand, and I think that's really important. So can you talk us through the steps to becoming a brand in demand?
And here it is. I will say when you're in a field as long as I have been, you come up with lots of systems and frameworks and structures and processes, and this happens to be the one that resonates most with people everywhere in the world. And it as Colson says, it describes this process of moving from being unbranded to having the attraction principle where opportunities come to you. So in this first step, you aren't a brand at all. It means you can tick the box next to everything required to do your job, but there's nothing special, nothing extra, nothing exciting that gets people to really want to engage with you. My guess is that you're probably not there. This second place, which is really a good place to be, it's called distinguished. And what it means is not only can you do your job, you can tick the box next to everything required to do your job, but there's something interesting, something that gets people really excited about you. And you start to build a fan club, people who really want to pay attention to when you're talking because you're contributing something really interesting to them. That's a really good place to be. Not as good as most of these models are as this third place. And this third place is called demanded. And what happens is your brand starts to take on a life of its own because you turn your fans into promoters. They become your full-time sales force telling everyone how amazing you are and why they should connect with you. So our goal is to move you across this continuum because the power of being in this third category, right? Think Taylor Swift. 16% of the US population are Swifties. Swifties are they can't believe anyone who doesn't eat, drink, and sleep Taylor Swift music all day, right? So think about that. How do you start to create an opportunity where things come to you? All right. So we're going to go through the three-step process. As I said, we're going to move in a bit of a clip because we have a lot to cover. This first step is know. And what you're looking to know is your brand. Your brand is your unique promise of value. Unique because it sets you apart from everybody who does what you do. It's a promise because you commit to delivering it every single day in everything you do. And it has value to the people who are making decisions about you. So we'll talk about that as we move forward. To uncover your brand, right? Your brand is based in authenticity. You don't create your brand, you uncover it, you unearth it. And you do that from two different perspectives: introspection, right? Who am I? What's important to me? Where do I want to go? And then getting input. Let's start with introspection. There are six drivers of your personal brand: your passions, your superpowers, your values, your differentiators, your purpose, and your goals. And you need to be crystal clear on all of these to be able to move forward. There's a tool that my company created called Brand Boost that you now, as members of BlueSteps, you have access to. And we'll talk a little bit about how you can use that tool to unearth your passions and your superpowers and your values. When you're clear about this, you start to be able to formulate and describe your brand. All right. One thing you need to do when you're building your brand is you need to eliminate this four-letter word that begins with F. Now, I was told that everyone who's a member here is really, really polite. I would like to know what you think this four-letter F word that's lethal to your career is. You need to eliminate it from your vocabulary and from your action. So if you have some thoughts on what this might be, put them in the Q&A, and Colson will share some of what's coming up. Anyone want to politely guess?
I was gonna say, I hope it's not the four-letter word I was thinking about, but um,
It has, I have to say, it has come up a few times. Yep.
but our audience members are very professional. So a lot of them that are coming up are actually fake, fear, and fail. Those three seem to be pretty popular. Some said fawn, thought that was interesting. But yeah, we're getting a lot of fake and some said fine. Um,
Uh,
it looks like a lot of fear or fail.
yeah. So you can see I've used this slide before, and those that is what comes up. The word actually is fine, because we don't get excited in life about things that are fine. Think of all of the synonyms: average, adequate, okay, acceptable, right? Do you want people to describe you uh, fine? No, you want people to say amazing, outstanding, incredible, exceptional, extraordinary. That's what all strong brands are described by: superlatives. So that means you need to understand your superpowers. When you are clear about your superpowers and you integrate them into everything you do every day, you become known by them, and people start using superlatives to describe you. So think about that. What is it that you do better than anyone else? And how can that be the tool that you use to attract the attention of others? So this is one of the six drivers of your personal brand. Another driver that's really, really important, because remember, unique promise of value is your differentiators, what makes you unique. Uh, Interestingly, there are lots of people who do what you do, and you need to offer something that's different if you want people to notice you, right? To understand who you are and what it is that you can uniquely offer. So you need to stand out. This is you and everyone who does what you do, right? How does somebody know to pick you? How does somebody want to engage with you, right? What makes it look like this, where you have an outsized presence, or even like this, where you become the go-to person? The way to do that is to take those things that help you stand out and make them visible, right? Work your quirks. So we're going to go into our second poll and get some feedback from you.
Great. William, I don't know if it's possible, but some people asked if we could lower the volume during the poll. So the second poll question is, what's your secret sauce? And we'd love for everybody to put their answers in the Q&A. So what do you think your secret sauce is? And you can just type that out. Somebody has put in the response research. They think research is their secret sauce. I think that was interesting. Multidisciplinary offerings or holistic solutions. We have passion, honesty, integrity. These are all different. Risk assessment. That's great. Listening. Being multicultural and multilingual. Management mechanic. That's interesting. Somebody said, I communicate in a way that's immediately understood. I think that's a great one. Adaptability, relatable, building trusted relationships, fun. I think that's great. You mentioned that earlier, William.
Yeah.
Integrity, honesty, and active listening. So there's a lot of really great responses here about their secret sauce. We have one that's dive into problems and know the root cause. I think that's very important. And strategy and execution. So a lot of different responses here for their secret sauce. What are your thoughts on that?
Excellent. Well, you know what you just said, the magic word is you named all of those, right? They were all different. And that's the key, right? What makes us stand out from everyone else, and clearly people are honing in on their differentiation. So bravo. Thanks for sharing, everyone. Let's move to another driver of your personal brand. And we're not going to work on unearthing this one. I'm going to give you a technique that you can use to make your goals happen. And this is the coolest thing. When I learned about it, I did a lot of research on brain science when I was working on developing my personal branding methodology, and I came across something really, really interesting. It's a part of our brain called the RAS. I don't know if you've heard of it. It stands for Reticular Activating System, and it is the traffic cop that decides what makes it into our conscious mind and what doesn't. It's about right here in your brain. And so here's the deal. Every day you are bombarded with billions and billions of stimuli, and your brain can only process a tiny, 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 tiny fraction. What makes it into your conscious mind is what's self-serving, right? What's self-serving. So you need to let your brain know, and your RAS specifically, what's important to you. Here's all you need to do. And take your 1, 2, or 3 goals, not your 7,842 goals, but up to 3 goals that you want to achieve, document them, put them somewhere where you will read them every day. And every morning, you're going to reset your RAS by reading them. So your bathroom mirror, your office wall, on your computer screen, whatever works for you, read them deliberately. Don't, because you're going to continue to read them every day, right? Pay attention to what you're reading. And when you do, you're resetting your RAS and you're saying, be on the lookout for anything that will help me achieve these goals. And what you see that day will be different from if you hadn't done it. So this is a great brain hack that can help you achieve your goals without, you having to pursue a lot of effort to make it happen. All right. So those were 3 of the drivers of your personal brand. You need to get crystal clear on all 6 of them, and then you can start to think about getting feedback.
So, William, you talked about authenticity and you say that branding is being authentic. So it makes sense that the first step in personal branding is getting clear on your brand. How does one do that?
Yeah. So this is great, right? So we talked about Brand Boost, the tool to help you unearth the 6 drivers, being really introspective and focused on all of that, questioning yourself constantly. What are my top 5 values? What are my passions? How do I bring my passions to work? So being really inquisitive and then validating what you learn about yourself with feedback, right? You could walk around your office all day saying, I'm the most strategic person here. I'm the most strategic person here. But if you ask 10 people what words they'd use to describe you and they don't use the word strategic, you don't own the brand attribute of strategic. So you really need to validate that self-perception piece with feedback from others, right? I know when I started in the field of personal branding, people thought personal branding was like me, 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 me. Let me tell you about me. It's not that at all. Your brand is held in the hearts and minds of those who know you. So the more you deliver your brand consistently, the more they understand what your brand is about, and the more they can carry your brand message on your behalf. So the other question you have to ask yourself is, what do people think about me? What words would they use to describe you? If we ask 10 people what words they'd use to describe you, do you know what words they'd use? Would they all use the same words? Would they use the words that you would use to describe yourself? You probably don't know the answer to that because we rarely get this kind of feedback, right? You might get feedback on a project that you're working on, but you're not getting direct personal branding feedback. So it's really important to get candid, anonymous feedback from the people who count, right? Networking contacts and friends and family and your boss and people who work for you and your colleagues and your clients, all of those kinds of folks. When you do that, this is when you have a real handle on your brand. You have access to another cool tool called 360 Reach, which allows you to request feedback from others. And what's cool about it is it's anonymous. So they're going to provide truly candid feedback to you. And our system is going to analyze it and organize it and parse it and present it to you in a 15-page document that is all about the brand called you. So 360 Reach, it's a tool that's been used by 1.98 million people right now. It's the most popular product we have, and now thanks to our partnership with BlueSteps, you will have access to that as well. So the first step, though, in this process is doing your own 360 Reach survey so that you can do a comparative analysis. Here's how I see me. Here's how others see me. Where is there a connection, and where are there disconnects? So anyway, super excited about the partnership and being able to work on that. All right, let us switch gears a little bit here.
William, in the second step, you learn how to tell your story and deliver a first powerful impression. What can people do to make sure their story is both authentic and at the same time it's engaging to the people that they want to influence?
Yeah. So Colson, you're taking us to the second step of the process, which is all about telling people your story. So it's great to uncover your brand, but you don't want it to be the world's best kept secret. You want to be able to let other people know about it. So it's time to tell your story. I'll tell you, I had the pleasure of living in Paris for about 6 years, and I just loved living in Paris, and I loved meeting new people in Paris. Partly because I love meeting new people. I'm a people person. It's just what inspires and drives me. And partly because when you meet someone in a French-speaking country, this is what they say to you when you're introduced to someone. Does anyone want to guess? You can put your guess. What is it that people say in France when you're introduced to them? You can put it in the Q&A.
So checking to see if people are putting in some responses in the Q&A. Enchanté.
Voila. Exactly. Enchanté. Right? And enchanté is impressive.
Mrs. Lumiere.
Enchanté, chérie.
Um, that was from, as you know, Beauty and the Beast. When we are introduced in the U.S., people will say, "Nice to meet you." In France, they say, "I'm enchanted or delighted to a high degree," right? Enchanté. So I became obsessed with this, and I thought, wow, what do we need to do to enchant people to a high degree, right? To delight them to a high degree, to enchant them when we meet them, and this became my mission. And so we really need to be more deliberate about the way we introduce ourselves to others, because first impressions are so important. When you're delivering your brand, sometimes you do this real time, right, where you are being introduced. It could be on a screen, but it's happening real time. And then there's the all the time when people are checking you out online. And we're going to talk about both of those. But let's start with real time. The tool that you use, and you use it in meetings and in networking, is your elevator pitch. So you need to deliver an elevator pitch that is more exciting than, "Hi, I am Susan Smith, and I work in the Boston office in product marketing in the healthcare sector," right? That's factual. It's not compelling. You need to get more excited. So here's a formula I'd like you to consider using. Uh, and it's a really powerful formula. I've used it with so many different clients. It's after hearing my elevator pitch, the audience will know three things, not 12 things, not one thing, three things about me. They'll want to know more about something. That's the hook, right? Where you have the ongoing conversation, and they will feel. You need to come up with an emotion for them to feel, right? What's that emotion going to be? Do you want them to feel intrigued, supported, cared for, inspired? What's the emotion? And when you think about it this way and you introduce yourself this way, you stand out from the people who do the name, rank, serial number kind of introduction, and you get people excited about you. So, really important to be thinking about what are the things I want people to know about me, and how can I deliver it in a way that's enchanting, right? Where people are delighted to a high degree to meet us. The biggest place to build your brand in the world is in meetings, right? Meetings are, and when you're delivering presentations, they're the place where the people you want to influence, impact, and impress are. You are invited because you have something valuable to contribute. And you have an opportunity to build relationships because you're doing this real time. It's not email, right? It's a meeting or a presentation, whether it's virtual or real. So practice your elevator pitch and change it up a little bit for each meeting you attend, to be able to see what kind of reaction you get from folks.